MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by Fucking Laundry Man.
At our retirement community called, we care about you and your dear cherished decrepit relatives. We keep them company by waking them up at 4 a.m, we play stupid games, we screen the same movie every single day and they don't notice it. But we care for them, and if they feel abandoned or don't want to stay here, we have a solution. Retirement community called. People die to come here. Or coming here. It's one or the other.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
There's my little boy, Joey. There's my boy, Joey. Come here. Oh, I see you've given up shaving.
No, I shaved.
You call that a shave?
I swear I shaved.
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Now, it seems like in recent episodes, we've been watching a bunch of movies that I haven't really been enjoying,
It's a joke. You're joking, right, man?
but that I think are going to facilitate an excellent jam session, breaking down why exactly we didn't think they work, which ideally is the point of this show, no matter what the movie was like. So, today we have done one which, in theory, especially for the time period it was in, should be an absolute slam dunkaroo. Should be across the board, man. In 1992, this thing was ratcheting up the box office charts.
No.
It is Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot. Not to be confused with the porno version, Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot Her Load. Incest porn that I rented once in the 90s and immediately returned because it was disgusting.
It is!
So, we have Hollywood icon, Sly Stallone, and the planet's most adorable woman, the icon herself from the beloved Golden Girls, Estelle Getty, who, case in point, until this moment, I had never seen out of her
Element.
Sophia getup on Golden Girls. And the cover has her with a massive rocket launcher type thing and a Rambo thing. They're standing back to back. And honestly, if you had shown me this and just said, look at the cover, look at the name, look at them, I'd be like, wow, this is going to be fantastic.
You just made a big mistake.
Now, 1992, I think it's important to timestamp this because my main argument here today is going to be that. And I don't say this as a diss, I say this as an actual studious point for today's lesson. This is Full House. This is a Full House episode. This has Full House beats. This has Full House characters. This has, Matthew, Full House thugs, as we've talked about long ago in a previous episode. So yeah, it should be awesome. It was very boring, and we're going to get into why.
Well, how bad can it be?
Matthew?
No, thank you.
No, you're going to give us the synopsis. And then I want to quickly get into the first scene with the guy on the ledge, because I feel like that set the tone for what this is going to be. But please break down. And then Matteo, I think, has a fun story about how Sly was convinced to do this movie,
Yeah, sure.
I thought he wrote it.
which I've heard.
No.
Didn't he take a cut in his paycheck just so he could be starring it?
No. But I wait for him to stop drinking, otherwise it's going to be a spit take. But this movie has been written by the guy who created Save the Cat.
Shouldn't it be better then?
You would think so, right? Good night, everybody. This has been a very brief episode.
You know, okay.
You call this a life?
Chew on that.
Give us the synopsis of this thing, but keep it brief. There's a way to do this one brief. What happens? Mom comes.
Do you want to read the back of the DVD?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to do it?
Read the back of the DVD?
No.
Or attempt myself to summarize it. By the way, the best thing this movie has going for it is this kick-ass,
Yeah.
in the middle of VHS being pulled out slipcover.
They did.
When did they start doing that?
It's great.
It was a series that Universal, I think.
The better
started
question
doing.
is, what year did we start fetishizing the VHS format?
Also, in this poster here, she has the whitish, blondish hair because so it resembled more to the character that she was playing in The Golden Girls. Whereas here she has the color of the hair that she sports.
I thought it was supposed to be Dolph Lundgren's hair.
Possibly. I go.
Oh.
So I need to change my glasses. Los Angeles Police Sergeant Joe Bomonowski has his life turned upside down when his feisty mother, Tootie, comes to town for a rare visit. Mom is soon rearranging Joe's bachelor pad and meddling in his affairs, much to his embarrassment and to the delight of Gwen, his precinct supervisor and girlfriend. To add to Joe's problems, Tootie witnesses a murder and becomes his unlikely partner when she refuses to divulge information unless she's allowed in on the investigation. Just when Joe starts wishing he were adopted, Tootie comes through in the clutch, proving that mother knows best in this hilarious thriller the San Francisco Chronicle calls delightful.
Well, it was like a novel on the back of the thing there, but it kind of summarized it.
The San Francisco Chronicle might very well have said this is not delightful, and if you quote delightful, is legal and is quite deceptive. But
Well, I'm fascinated by that.
What did you say?
Well, now that did the job very well.
Not really,
As a
because
synopsis should, but
Well, here's what I find utterly fascinating about this gentleman being the one that wrote Save the Cat, which I don't know if our two viewers are as nerdy into the world of screenwriting, but Save the
and
Cat.
he also wrote a blank check.
As I'll to get to, yes, which makes a lot of friggin' sense. But
get to it now.
Oh, a comedian.
to those of us, to our viewers out there that may not know, Save the Cat is a pretty popular book on the art of screenwriting, the craft of screenwriting, how you do it.
Did he write all of them?
I am not sure, but I think that I know that he has. He's been considered one of the most prolific and successful spec script writers because he has sold like 12 spec scripts or something, and it's. I think that sadly also he passed away a few years back, but.
Sadly, did you watch this movie?
Mucho big mistake.
So, we have a scene early on where before that I would like to say something, because like I said, this seems like it should really be amazing.
Don't say a word, not a single word.
And even though he said blank check, I'm thinking also of House Guest, which is 2 years later in '94.
It's a big field, right?
Or First Kid.
Oh! Haven't seen it.
You have.
Want to.
You have.
It's a very sweet spot where you put the knife in, the good nectar comes out. Early 90s comedies around this era. House Guest, kind of a stellar example of them. But when his mom comes into the airport, Joe notices that as the passengers are exiting the plane, they are thinking like, oh, that must be him. Oh, he looks cuter in the diapers, this and that. And then the pilots come out, they're all chuckling. And then
How did everyone know how to identify him?
We see Estelle behind her.
Oh, right.
And she's been showing everyone on the plane photos to the point where everyone that's walking out immediately knows who Joe is. I actually love it.
By the way, some of the time, he could go actually to not even the gate, but when you were coming out of the plane. This is before 9/11.
Yes.
So
this is part of that before 9/11 series.
Because right now it wouldn't be a scene like that. It wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
In general.
Because he gets it right at the gate.
Right.
So I actually love that. I think if you told me that you're setting up a Sly Stallone, Estelle Getty vehicle about mom getting involved with cop business, and he comes to the airport to see her, and every person that comes out of the plane is kind of giggling and saying, oh, he looks a lot, not when you're not naked in a diaper and this and that. I actually think it's a great way to start. I'm not necessarily chuckling at it myself,
but gross pedophile woman though.
You looked real sexy in those diapers.
Thank you. We're going to harp on that for 60 minutes in this, but I actually really like it. I like the idea. I think it's, again, that's a great way.
Tell me that plane, imagine some old lady comes up to you and starts trying to talk to you about baby pictures. Punch her in the throat, tell her to sit back down.
Yes.
But it is, for the movie that this is, I think that's great. And then, as Matthew said, one of the stewardesses says,
flight attendants,
you look
son of a bitch,
really sexy in those diapers.
And like
Which is a sentence that
we all get the joke.
that should never be a sentence that's said.
We all get the joke of, oh my God, you know, we saw you when you were little.
Unless you're in a New York underground club and you have an
Is the
infant
word
fetish.
sexy that is troubles? Because as you say something
Sure,
like
like cute in those diapers.
You looked really sexy in those diapers.
You know, you look real sexy in those diapers.
You looked really sexy in those diapers. That should never be said, even if it's an elderly fetish video. It sounds disturbing, but it's still not as disturbing as you know what they say about little girls.
They say they never forget the first time they're kissed by a lizard.
Dennis Hopper, you cornrowed, coke-addled freak. So, I actually like that. But very quickly after that, one of our first wacky scenarios is that they get to a jumper. Cue Third Eye Blind. Guy wants to jump off. Oh my God, we got to stop him. He goes up there. Now, what happens is, I'm sorry, what's her name in the movie? I don't know what color her still. Tootie, right. How can I forget Tootie? So Tootie starts saying, she asked the cop what's wrong. The cop says,
well, he wants to talk to his mother. Apparently, they've been having some problems.
Really?
So that, of course, sets her off. So she starts talking
I
up.
don't think cops can tell a random crowded person what's wrong with the guy.
Yeah.
Or
let her right there.
Or get the bullhorn.
Yeah.
You stay right there. I swear to God, I'm going to do it.
Young man, down here. I know I'm not your mother, but I am a mother.
Oh, no,
I
no.
was thinking you could talk to me if that's all right.
Officer, this is serious up here.
She becomes so overbearing that the guy on the ledge talking to Joe says,
Jesus, and I thought I had things bad.
Not close.
Excuse me, I think I'm ready to go in now.
Yeah.
Sorry about the inconvenience.
No problem.
everything about that, and again, this is not to diss it, I'm just saying it's completely congruent, the style of humor, the kind of laissez-faire to a death-defying situation, the punchline of, oh wow, I thought my mom was bad, but yours, I'm going off, that is Full House to a T. 100% that is exactly the vibe, style of Full House. Now, me and Matthew love Full House. Again, the same reason I was talking about with these early 90s comedies. House Guest, that's why we love it. This, in theory, should be amazing, but...
I don't like the tone of your voice, young man.
We now return to MaJaMa.
Forward, Mom! Let them go left!
Okay.
Mom, slow down a little bit. Take your foot off the accelerator. Slow down! Be careful!
I want to get your guys' opinion on something especially interesting because this Emmer Effer wrote the Save the Cat. Let's say you come into, one of Mateo's beloved James Bond, or you come into a Lethal Weapon, that's not the first one, so it's a sequel. What do we always do? We drop in to a random adventure they're in the middle of, and we kind of do about 10 minutes maybe of that before we start kicking off the main plot that will push forward the rest of the 90 minutes of the movie.
Oh man, can't you go any faster? Floor this! I can't, it's my wife's brand new car and I'm not going any faster.
This plot with the guys buying guns is handled in a way that never seems to kick into high gear. That again, going to Full House or sitcoms in general, A plot, B plot. A plot, oh my God, Stephanie's got to get into college. B plot, Joey and Jesse arguing over whose turn is to do the laundry. Just 2 scenes, quick.
It's exactly the same.
But for some reason, and I'm very curious if you guys have the same effect, the way they handle it, it always feels like the preliminary dropped in a Lethal Weapon, give us 10 minutes of this, and then get to the main one. It never feels like it kicks in. I get that the, albeit annoying, kind of back and forth between him and Estelle kicks in, but the whole movie feels like we're waiting for an actual plot that's worthy of a movie to kick into gear. Yeah. Just feels like, oh yeah, there's some guns. Yeah, we're stealing them. Oh, is someone on our case? This is a side thing.
Not only do you let 10 cases of guns get stolen in the first place, not only do you screw up getting them back, now I've got some cop's weird mother threatening to pull down my pants and spank me.
And you can do that the main star is the back and forth with mom, but I could not escape the feeling that we just never kicked into full gear. Do you guys know what I'm saying with that?
Exactly, yeah.
That's exactly how I just, we always stay in A plot. We never kick into the meat of it.
There is one thing I think that I noticed now, not the first time that I saw it.
Excuse me?
This is one of those movies that doesn't really know what it is, if it's a real thriller or a real comedy.
It is!
And the biggest problem to me personally, is that of all the people, Estelle Getty is the only one who knows she's in a movie.
I don't like the look of this one bit.
Explain.
She is completely unfazed by anything. She sees people dying in front of her. She sees she's almost run over by a van. She is in the middle of a plot. Everything is fine. I cannot believe for a second that she thinks she's in danger. In
Just
any,
she's impervious to everything.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
But it's so strident with all the rest that we have guns, we have a shootout, we have wrecking balls going through.
She keeps throwing herself into the middle of all this.
Yes, and it's just like it goes way beyond having a Superman complex. I refuse to believe that she is so oblivious to all the risks that she is putting herself and her son into, whereas all the rest is trying to be played kind of like serious and
Dude, any one of the thugs could have picked her up like a dog and just slammed her on the ground.
Exactly.
Shot every bone in her body.
And also, forgive me, and also the fact that if she is so in
love with her son, why don't you just marry him?
Something like that. If she's so in love with her son, first, why doesn't she pick up the phone at the beginning? It's never explained.
9, 70.
Jesus, Joe, she's not in.
She's in, I know it.
Then why don't she answer?
She knows it's me, Al. She's just sitting there watching the phone ring, not answering.
I thought there was going to be like a reason to feel
yes.
or a reason
And also yes to both. Absolutely huge gaping error.
Why didn't you answer?
For 5 years, every time I'm about to visit, you call and say it's a bad time. 5 years, Joey. Well, this time I decided I wouldn't answer the phone just in case you called.
And the fact that also she, again, if she is so much in love with her son, she really doesn't know the risks of his life as a police officer, and she just like goes and buys guns or cleans gun. Those are those things that it may have worked in a movie 20 years before. It's kind of like there was the... Oh, damn it. What is the title of the Jack Lemmon movie? That it was The Out-of-Towners.
I was hoping you would say that you and your wife don't really belong in New York. You wanted to live the rest of your life in Ohio. But you never wanted to see a big city again as long as you live.
The Out-of-Towners with Jack Lemmon shot in 74, 75. It's absolutely plausible and it's great in its comedy drama situation. When they remade it with Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn,
So embarrassed about this. No, don't be embarrassed. When we tell the people in Ohio that we let Andrew Lloyd Webber Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. Sir
Lord. I think he's a Lord. Sir Lord.
Are you a Lord? Sir Lloyd. You know Paul McCartney?
All
right, shut up. What's he like? Is he like fun? Shut up. Shut up. What? Jeez.
it was about 25, if not even more, later. And it was not possible that there were people so naive and so uninformed of what was going on. In the original one, they were going from living way outside the big towns to New York for the first time. It was a huge change, so they would actually being swindled and wind up in situation. With the Steve Martin version, it's too modern for having that kind of
cluelessness.
Yeah,
I know.
And so it becomes almost irritating.
Yeah.
Because you say, really, you can't, you don't, you're so living in your.
I think this comes down, though, to, I agree, but I also think it takes back to what I kicked off with, saying that this is a Full House episode, because what you were saying about she's a literal minuscule lady, you're a thug, like pick her up and break her. I'm thinking of Ray Liotta in Cocaine Bear, and again, you are not playing this for wackiness. You're playing him as an actual gangster. You're playing him as ruthless. You're playing him as the whole ruthless guy that's messing up everything. Kill the kid, kill the cubs, do something. That's, you know, it's not going to happen. So
a lot of cocaine was lost under my eye. And the people that I deal with, they don't care how, just that it was. And look at me. They're gonna come after me.
Sorry, Stephen. I don't mean to call your ass out, but it's true.
I think both of those speak to you made a Full House episode and you tried to go a little too serious because, yes, anyone who's a cold-hearted street thug for the purposes of your story should see a woman with a gun and just like, phew, I don't care. Not to saying there's not, Scarface, we don't kill kids, there's not a code of honor, but just that speaks to the fact of you need to define this. I say Full House thugs because there's always the big, chunky biker. Your friend from Silence of the Hams.
Yes,
the black gentleman.
Rosie Brown.
He is classically in one of our favorite episodes where they go to Weeb's Sports Bar. And he's the sports bar owner, and he's a Full House thug. You can tell in that world that he's never going to hurt anyone, and the thing is the joke. So I think what we need is a clarification of tone, and I think you can have Estelle, again, maybe not with the gun, of course, but washing the gun cheerfully as the visiting mom is very Full Housey, not the gun part, but I think you could do that.
This is the point of no return.
Maybe
but you have to...
older and more senile, too.
You have to establish the... Almost like, I'm trying to think of, because oftentimes sitcom tones are defined by working in the medium. I don't know if you can transfer them successfully without altering in some way to a movie medium, but if you did do this just take Full House as your Bible, I think you can make this work. In fact, what I wanted to say was that it eventually got to the point where I was genuinely bored and I couldn't focus. But in the beginning, even when I was like, it's not great, I was like, dude, I don't care because they're both so likable.
Yes, they're very likable.
I genuinely do not care, so I'm with this. So for the first chunk of it, I was like, this is going to be great because I don't care about the writing or the jokes. They are so likable, so good together. I'm with it. And then they wore out their goodwill. And like you said, I think she does she's too bulldozery, and it almost, not entirely, it almost squashes the goodwill of how adorable Estelle, adorable, likable, funny.
And also the fact that, and to preserve that, the crime they're involved with is minimal, and that's why the movie is also boring.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. A-plot, whatever you want to call it.
I kept expecting, too, that...
what are they doing? They're just stealing guns. That's the end of it, right? They're stealing guns.
But it also seems like it's a smaller crime, so it doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I also kept expecting that she would have been like, oh, I came to visit you because I got into some trouble with X, Y, and Z. I need your help because you think I'm an unassuming little old lady, but I got into some trouble back home, and these guys are after me.
I owe these black bastards money.
I kept thinking that when she first bought the gun, she's going to be like, I need protection for myself, as opposed to like, oh, I'm just a little old lady, I'm buying a gift for my son. I kept thinking that was a cover because it just seemed too stupid.
You know, occasionally on this couch, you guys genuinely mean that you solved the movie. You just solved the movie. That's what it needed.
God damn it!
That's exactly what this movie needed. She actually is, as forgive me for the esoteric reference, Eric Garcia, a gentleman from my stand-up days, used to go, I talked to my mom and she goes, ay, mijo, I owe these black bastards money. And I go, oh my God, my mom is running the streets. It turns out she was saying I owe Blockbuster money with an accent. But the first part of that joke where your mom says I owe these black bastards money, that's the joke you're talking about. Estelle actually is, uh-oh, you didn't know I came here because I'm actually involved in some stuff. I am kind of street smart. Again, to the degree of this movie, I think that's how you solve it, dude.
Not even of her own.
I think that's how you solve it. Have her actually be more involved with the street, and you'll be like, you think I'm this adorable old mom.
Accent, and you shouldn't have said black bastard.
It's not my joke.
Exactly, that's why you shouldn't have repeated it. I don't think you should be laughing
at it. How come Chris Rock can do
I don't think you should be laughing at the first part, let alone repeating it.
It's nice. It's very, very nice.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
Well, some more weight, some more stakes.
Yes.
And then either make, like I keep thinking of the
stakes are terrible.
The grandparents in Christmas Vacation.
Since this is Aunt Bethany's 80th Christmas, I think she should lead us in the saying of grace.
Oh, great.
What, dear? Grace! Grace! She passed away 30 years ago.
They want you to say grace. The blessing.
Where they're just so delusional and senile, something like that, where like you have a scene where she can barely see and she's washing a gun and it fires into the room. Like Estelle Getty wakes up Stallone with a gun to his head.
Go ahead, make your bed.
And there's like not even like she's cognizant enough to know that you don't point a gun, let alone looking down the barrel when she's washing it.
Or at the end when she shoots actually the gun.
Nobody hurts my baby.
She would have blown clear.
Yeah, she would have been. She's waiting less than the gun. She
Yeah.
would have just like flown back, like at Martin Short in Three Amigos. I think he fires and it's just like being propelled in the back into the back.
They wanted the cake and eat it too, and I think
It's like a Magnum too.
if
right?
you you lean into the sitcom nature, I think, and maybe even I don't know. It's kind of tricky with the guns, but again, House Guest is very G-rated, and you have the classic cartoon thugs after them. Maybe even lean into the more G-rated nature with it.
What did I always tell you? Breakfast is a big boy's most important meal of the day. You start on these Cocoa Puffs, and I'll scramble you some eggs.
I don't like eggs.
If you don't eat them for breakfast, they'll be here waiting for you at dinner.
We now return to MaJaMa.
Get out there and find it. Get off! Get off! Take us out!
Oh, God. Where are you taking me? Where are you taking me?
It should have been more, and I go back to this reference frequently, but it should have been more a Disney movie from the 70s where Cesar Romero is the villain and he goes first person doing stuff.
The crime of the century. What are you talking about? Cookie, at exactly 1 o'clock today, you and I are hitting the Medfield Bank.
So at this point you say, okay, it's a safe word.
Because the critiques you guys are bringing up are like, this is actually dangerous. We don't see that.
Go the opposite.
Or go the opposite.
Put it up to an R, and just make the extremity, the juxtaposition of the cute mom with a really rough and tumble story where you actually she can get herself hurt.
Mama! You got 10 seconds to get your in here.
What say?
Don't say a word, not a word.
Did something happen with Gwen?
Gwen, I'm here to talk to you.
Well, there's no need.
Yes, there is. This is my house, and I'll shut up.
Okay, so Mateo, correct me. I'm pretty sure that I've seen a clip that Arnold tricked Sly into doing this by saying it was a hot script he wanted to do, but he knew it was a piece of trash.
Yes, apparently yes.
The story goes that you somehow tricked him into making a very bad movie.
Yes.
And is that true?
Yes, but it's part of the...
How in the world?
I heard that he tricked you into doing the movies that didn't work for you.
There's a thing, you know, when people prey on your insecurities, when you go, your agent goes, you gotta do this movie, because Arnold's gonna do it. I go, really? He goes, Arnold's gonna. I said, I don't think Arnold can do this one because he's playing like an American cop and they don't have German accents. They're just not gonna do it. Because I'm telling you, if you don't do this thing, Stop on My Mama Shoot, he's in. He's in.
So I read the script and it was a piece of I mean, let's be honest. And so I said to myself, I'm not going to do this movie. So then they went to Sly, and then Sly called me and he says, hey, have they ever talked to you about this movie? And I said, yeah. I said, I was thinking about doing it. I said, this is a really brilliant idea, this movie. And so when he heard that, because he was in competition, he immediately called him and says, look, whatever it takes, I do the movie. So he did the movie. Wow. And of course, the movie went major into the toilet.
And apparently, Sylvester Stallone said that this is the worst movie he's ever made. And he made a Rhinestone Cowboy, which is also...
That's about a gay stripper?
No, but he is him singing with Dolly Parton.
Oh.
Budweiser, you created a monster.
The movie
If
never takes
Schwarzenegger
off.
did it, think of the accent his mom would have had to have.
Yes. It should have been completely different.
Yeah.
I think you could pull it off better with Schwarzenegger.
But I mean, if his accent is that thick, think about how his mom would speak. She wouldn't even speak English probably.
Yeah, because Schwarzenegger somehow is he's able to be a little more goofy than Stallone. And by this time, I think he had already dabbled a little longer in comedies.
Kindergarten Cop.
This is a couple years after Jingle All the Way, I think. Maybe 7 years afterwards.
7 years.
No, Jingle All the Way is 96.
I think it's 82.
I think it's 73.
Doubtful. It's
right between Terminator 1 and 2, I think.
Yes.
No! But I think Arnold would actually
I agree,
make this click more.
Definitely.
But the main problem is
Also,
actually...
the tiny little Estelle and massive Arnold would have just been a greater juxtaposition.
I think the name and the poster and the casting is great. It's just this movie... Well, this is why, going back to Save the Cat, this movie never kicks in.
Try to do something helpful.
I've actually never seen something like this where, like you said, it's a boring, inconsequential thing like we're stealing guns. Like,
I don't think
it's like the line in Home Alone 2 when he's like, Marv, 9-year-olds robbed candy stores. Like, this is not a movie-worthy plot.
From what I gather is they say that there was a fire at a warehouse.
Well, what would you say if I told you that we have evidence that the weapons weren't destroyed in the fire?
Well, that we have been the victim of a colossal fraud.
From where I stand, you don't look like a victim, you look more like a beneficiary.
And they were about to go to Mexico to sell them illegally.
Oh, wow.
That, I think, is the plot. Sorry, not the plot, but the plan of the villain.
So you usually would have Sly and his mom arguing throughout, to get to the point of the end of Act 2 fight that divides them.
Wow. The end of Act 2 fight that ultimately separates our two disgruntled heroes. Wasn't it great?
And then in between that, you'd be ratcheting up the violence gangster plot.
Yeah.
But it just feels like you play, I don't know, maybe they wanted to focus on mom stuff too much, but it's just all mom stuff. And then just these limp, like, sparse scenes where it's like, yeah, so now we're going to take the stolen guns. There's not even any like, oh no, I mean, they know she witnessed something, but it just never clicks in to actual movie.
She's the witness, so now she needs to be protected.
Yeah.
But she's still fighting against being protected by this and trying to solve the crime on her own.
I don't believe this shit. Watch your mouth, Russ.
And then kind of leaning more into the, hey, I'm a bored old lady who was just lonely. I want to come see my son. Like, you think there's gonna be a bigger reason for the visit? And it's like, oh, I mean, it's just
we don't get one, right?
No, I mean, she says, hey, you don't want to end up like me.
Waking up one morning and finding you're 60 years old, living in a little apartment all by yourself, just wishing you had someone to love as special as Gwen.
Your character, we're writing the mom character, defining characteristic as overbearing. She didn't pick up the phone for 2 weeks. Just base level, no. Like, Or you say, like you said, I fell down. I was involved with the guys had me at gunpoint. That's why I came here to get a cop's help.
Yeah, like you keep thinking like she's gonna flee her hometown for that reason.
There's
no reason. There's nothing.
This is Fat Beach, because
yeah,
I see, and I will die on the hill that I see potential in this. Again, same thing with Fat Beach. I like our two leads. I think our two leads deserve a better movie.
What happened to Teresa?
Oh, man. Lost and found at the carnival. Lost her. Found Dana. Hey, maybe you can score us like a burger and fries or something.
Darrell only been working here for an hour.
Chill, man. I hear you. That ain't why I'm here anyway.
Actually, I think there's a great, even if it's like, you want to talk about House Guest being a guilty pleasure watch versus an actual great comedy, but I think there's a great movie in here. I think there's a movie that we put on and we're like, yo, we love this movie.
Half of this needs to be her getting caught up in the commotion versus her pushing her way bluntly and stupidly through barricades to get into these horrible situations.
Mr. Magoo, but with the wrong tone.
She wriggles her way out of handcuffs, knocks a massive thug unconscious for the second time with a frying pan, probably giving him brain damage.
Yeah.
Steals the guy's van, drives to the airport, and immediately gets taken hostage. And they're like, oh, we're going to kill you and throw your body over the Atlantic Ocean.
And she doesn't flinch.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you're putting yourself... I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh, I'm a tough old broad, I'm not going to take any crap or anything, but at the same time, there's got to be some awareness of, like, you're a frail little old thing.
Yeah, and
a breeze could kill you.
Yeah, it never appears once.
Well, the world doesn't set up, I think, that danger can happen to her is the problem.
Sometimes I even impress myself.
It sets up a cartoon.
That's why I say she's the only one who knows that she's in a movie.
Yeah.
She's indestructible. And... it's a pity because and one thing that I don't dislike at all, I remember a lot of people say, oh no, he's not as out of his element. I like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And even as a comedic actor, he has a good timing, he has a good faces, and it's nice.
What are you talking about?
He has a brief relationship with on and off with Jo Beth Williams, who is his boss.
And again, I didn't necessarily. It's not as bad as the gun plot, but I never kind of felt that kick in.
Right.
It's like whatever. Oh, you do like me? No, I don't. Oh, you do.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why it's weird that, unless it's the old "those who can't do teach," but it's like, dude, you wrote "Save the Cat."
Really?
After this.
Okay, so what he wrote Blank Check, which would have been after this, next year, I believe.
Probably a couple years prior, but yeah.
And this Estelle's already popular for Golden Girls, right?
Yeah.
The Golden Girls.
I think just when Golden Girls ending.
Late.
Golden
Really?
Girl is 1985 to 1990, probably 2 or 3.
Oh, okay, shit. So they're actually right off of the Sophia success.
But then again, they were doing the spin-off after this, right? With Estelle?
That was a season.
Oh, just one?
Golden Palace.
Yeah.
Just one season, I believe.
And then?
Also available on YouTube for those of you Golden Girls completionists. Yeah, I think it should have been really a lot of fun. It should have been one of those movies where you don't care
At
what's
least
happening because it's so fun.
We got the titular line in there.
Oh, I didn't think they'd do that.
Stop! Or my mom will shoot!
Because sometimes it's a little... Well, they also do it in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
The machine works? Do the kids know?
Well, yeah, the kids know.
That's great!
It's not that great.
Why?
I shrunk the kids.
What?
And the Thompson kids, too. They're about this big. They're in the backyard.
What?
That almost seems birthed from a line in the script.
Yes.
Maybe this is too.
Probably.
I mean...
Originally was Sylvester Stallone and an old lady. Just take...
I mean, it's not a bad name in terms of the
Yes.
goofy, stupid, selling the idea of what it is.
It's a missed opportunity.
Wait.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Mom, what are you doing here?
Mommy's gotta change you.
Mommy!
And I remember that hearing somewhere that the writer was saying it was a time where they were doing a lot of comedies where a cop and blank, and a kid and a dog.
Cop and a half.
Yeah, Cop and a half. K9.
Cops and
Turner
Robertsons.
Hooch, all this. Captain Ron. No, nothing.
Getting Even with Dad.
That doesn't. The last two are not part of this group, but there was a lot of desire to do the odd couple among cops, and even to a degree, Lethal Weapon. It was the
black guy and a white guy.
Yeah, mostly
that
by the number, almost at the edge of retirement. Not really, but a cop and the crazy Splinter.
Wasn't he like 35?
Yes.
Briggs, look at this. My color, your color, and yet here we are in the same car, working together.
Was that the first one?
Yes.
First scene.
It was a tagline.
Drop him right in.
Stop right there.
What?
I feel like we critique. There's not much to the plot. We critique so much. So we get into the actual. That's the thing. Is it feels like there's not. We get a.
There's a lawyer from Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, thank you. I actually.
No, there's the lawyer from Jurassic Park, and there is the guy from Lost World Jurassic Park 2 who gets eaten on the.
We always like to point out we recognize these people definitively, and we have a trinity in here of people. We have the iconic toilet bowl death from Jurassic Park, Geronimo, right? Geronimo? What the hell's his name, Matt? Gennaro, thank you.
Geronimo.
Again, the Jurassic Park tie-in, a gun seller, is the gentleman...
Richard Schiff, who is...
he's part of the Vince Vaughn crew in Lost World.
Yes.
All right, and the third one, very, very personal connection. I saw him and instantly recognized the voice and look. Where's this guy from? The boss of the evil operation plays nephew Fred in the George C. Scott A Christmas Carol, which is probably our favorite version in our family, and we've watched endlessly. So,
Merry Christmas, Uncle. I said, Merry Christmas, Uncle. Humbug. Christmas a humbug, Uncle. Surely you don't mean that. I do.
had some familiar faces that you just can't
and
unsee them from
also
where they
the
were.
sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
There's some wonderful deliveries.
I shall marry you.
What? You'll be mine. You'll give yourself to me every night. And sometimes right after lunch.
Yes, but only my body. You can never have my heart, my mind, or my soul.
Oh, yes, I respect that. Mm-hmm.
And a brief, but definitely there, appearance of Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is strange, because wasn't he a name? He was a name by the time Pulp Fiction came 2 years later, wasn't he? Or no?
Probably.
It just seems strange. He's just kind of there as a, like, as a couple lines and goes.
Doesn't even get back up after getting shot or hit.
Get your hand out of there.
Really?
It's just that one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't him.
You know, even the scene we drop into where Sly's like, "We were waiting here for 2 hours. Where's the bad guys? They're late. They're shooting at me. I'm pissed." I'm like, this is a Full House cop scene. I think what you need to do, get a sitcom writer to rewrite this. You dumb it down a bit. You go for the straight coasting on goofiness. You make it so it doesn't matter that Estelle's no she's not in danger, because you lower the stakes and goofify the world.
Let's reboot Stop My Mom Will Shoot. Let's turn it into a limited series for Apple TV.
Yeah.
You know,
or
Stop or My
Netflix.
Mom Will Shoot, a rebooted TV series starring Ed Helms with Betty White before she passed, released on Peacock. There's a limited series.
Marion Ross.
There you go.
What are you talking about?
You know, I'm going to say it. I think that this deserves a reboot, because I believe you can do this. Again, we've had probably an endless amount of movies of Wacky with My Mom or whatever, but I still think there's a really fun, really dumb, really breezy, maybe even G-rated movie in this.
Replace Estelle Getty with a chimp.
Last Tango in Paris. Every Which Way But Loose. Sorry, it's a different. The butter scene in Last Tango in Paris.
Estelle, what?
He was saying replace her with...
replace her.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still his mom, but it's a chimp in a wig.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And a dress.
Or you do it with Arnold, and thanks to modern technology, you make his mom have his face and voice. So it's just an Arnold that's this big in a little cardigan and a Shirley
Jack
wig.
and Jill.
Listen to me, Arnold, you're not doing good enough. I need to make you a casserole.
That's actually how you do it.
But I'm cleaning the gun, it almost went
Actually,
out.
no. You redo it with Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger is his mom.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
No,
I'm here for it.
Schwarzenegger and DeVito as in drag as his mom. Bring back them as twins.
Yes.
By the way, were they supposed to do twins?
Yeah.
Yes, they were. It was pretty, it was lots of
It seems
articles
solid.
about it, yeah. Biggest tragedy is still the original lineup for the Farrellys, Three Stooges, and then the C-list fest we got after that. No disrespect to the actors. Oh my God, Sean Penn, Jim Carrey, Benicio del Toro, just directed by the Farrellys as the Three Stooges. That goes down in my top 10 missed opportunity projects. But you
What
kind
about
of
the
knew
other
that was
9?
too good to be true. What?
What are the other 9?
That's a great question. I probably have some good answers for that, honestly. I just need
sure.
I'm not that quick on my feet. I can barely stand off this couch. I feel like we've properly eviscerated why this failed. Is there anything else from the actual movie left out? Matthew, anything else we could make fun of, like you said, like the sexy in diapers line, which is still disturbing? If you had to pick a more disturbing line, just by the way the words sound.
You know, you looked real sexy in those diapers.
You know what they say about little girls, don't you?
Once again, flip it with a male flight attendant saying that about a little girl on diaper. And obviously, it's always different when it's a guy because it's more of an imposing physical threat.
Speaking of which,
But still.
Speaking of
God
which,
damn, can you imagine?
Speaking of which,
don't talk about your.
This gentleman's follow-up movie, Blank Check, is kind of infamous for the kissing scene between a young Brian Bonsall and a then incredibly fire Karen Duffy.
Why don't you give me a call in, say, about 10 years? 7.
6.
Okay. It's a date. Good night, Preston.
Fresh off of her role, or same year her role as Dumb and Dumber. If those were now, honestly, perhaps speaking to the resonance or how much we actually bow down to the double standard, I get it. It is on the lips, but because he's a little boy, I'm like, that was probably the best night of his life. You flip that blank check scene, and it's a male FBI agent trying to get in good with a cute little 9-year-old girl who has a blank check, and they kiss on the lips, and your skin will remove it won't even crawl, it'll just remove itself from its body. It'll be so friggin' gross and disgusting. And yet, even though I'm not going to say people aren't justified to call out the blank check scene, it's just, to me, is a world of difference. Just picture a grown, suited up, slick back hair, handsome Hollywood actor playing a male FBI agent. They're trying to get information. They're in the limo, little girl, and they reach over and they do an ugh.
You can probably get away with it in the 70s.
No! Possibly. Well, Pretty Baby with Brooke Shields.
Yeah, was she 12?
She was, I think, 12, and she is offered naked on a plate, and that is brought in a sort of a club or something. And
was that the point of the movie?
Are we? Shouldn't we be filming this? This is just for the producers to keep.
Why the cameras?
Express our feelings?
Yeah.
Express our feelings? Let's express our feelings. And I think this was a very fun jam. Let's express our feelings by throwing pieces of paper. And we're going to start with Matthew. Oh, crap. I need to think about how I'm going to vote this. I have no idea. You know what? I just realized I have no clue. How would I rate this one?
I'm going to go with...
I'm going to give it some spare points because of the likabilities, but it's going to take it hard for how much it wasted said likability.
I guess I'll go with 4. It just was boring, and...
I'm going to wait to hear Mateo's and then do mine based on his opinion.
There just was nothing there, and they completely...
There was nothing there.
Flatlined and didn't exploit the... what could have been a great, stupid movie. Foe.
What do you say?
Foe.
Oh, Foe. I go with 4 myself because in theory it should have been 7 because of the colossally wasted opportunity and the inanity of the script. But the saving grace are Stallone and Estelle Getty, because they're extremely likable to watch, even if they're put in situations that sometimes you would like to take them by the collar and yell in their face, stop being that obnoxious, that stupid. But so, 4.
Okay, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. I agree with you guys giving a nod to it, but I'm going to take off an extra half point just because I think they're such great leads, and they really, really missed a huge potential for what would be a great 90s relic like Housekiss did. So 4.5. Blue!
MaJaMa.
So guys, that was Sly Stallone's least favorite film of all time, except for the Italian Stallion during the backdoor scene, which apparently was very hard for him to film without a lot of cocoa butter. So, join us next week on this couch, surrounded by paper, with our friends like this cute green thing and Tomas, and this new Wolverine, and this skeleton, and Godzilla, and Matteo Molinari. And we hope you guys had a great time. Put in the comments what your mom does when she's cleaning guns around the house. And from our couch to yours, that was Jam!
No. Euthanize the elderly.
Okay. It's a pro-public service.
Yeah.
All right. Got a cue. That was really good jams.
Was it?
What a piece of shit.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.